Right. Okay, let's start. And ground rules for the meeting, as usual, take advantage of this networking opportunity using the chat window. Any questions that you have during this presentation, please proceed the question answer session so that we can find and ask the presenter. And in the end, you will be getting one PDU credited automatically whoever joined this webinar. So that's the ground rules. And today's webinar is on the strategies of alignment by Ms Padmine Vedula. And she has over 2 decades with a proven track record on record of delivering growth, profitability, and operational excellence in dynamic and competitive business environments. A deep skill set includes strategic planning, sales, customer operations, quality management, and training. She has demonstrated the ability to nurture and lead high-performing teams by fostering a culture of collaboration, innovation, and continuous improvement. She currently works as a Senior General Manager, Business Strategy, and Ops Operations at Tata Classic Limited. She is also a writing enthusiast who has several articles on LinkedIn and 2 white papers to her credit. She is a voracious reader and loves to travel. Without further ado, I'll give Padmini here. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Gokul Garu. Hope I am audible and visible too. Thank you.
You are.
Thank you for that introduction. And hello, everyone. Good morning to you all. And thank you so much for taking your time off on a weekend like Saturday and to be here. Therefore, I must say that it will become an unsaid KPI, KRA for me to make this time as productive and useful for you all. So let's get started. So strategy as a concept is quite fancied about in the corporate world, isn't it? So is alignment. So what is alignment all about? Because this is the word that we get to hear mostly in our meetings every now and then. And every time we say that this looks like they are just not aligned. There is absolutely no alignment between these two things. So every now and then we get to hear this word alignment. And many a times, I mean, many people do not understand the true sense of it. And even if they understand, they don't understand it fully. They just try and understand it only contextually. So the attempt what I'm trying to make today is to give you few basic nuances of this concept. I don't call it as a term, but this is a concept in itself. So I'm trying to give you a few little nuances about alignment, what it is all about, so that when you encounter it in your own situations, be it any kind of situation at work or in your personal life or with people around, you would understand what is happening and what has to be done about it. And I mean, just as Gokul introduced me, I work for Tata Classic Limited, which is an edtech company. And one of the critical ideologies of education technology is to bring the experience for a child into a classroom. So that has been a premise on which all the edtech companies have been working. So in today's webinar also, I'll try and bring some parts of it here so that you get an experience of learning about this topic in discussion. So here is what we are going to do. We have 2 visuals to be played for you. Mind you, it's going to be very short ones, mini visuals they are. The first one is going to be in English. The other one, the second one, is going to be in Telugu. However, subtitles are available. So I will try and play it twice so that each of you are able to get the content of it. You are able to internalize so that you are able to follow the further course of discussion, right? So let's begin. Give me a second while I am trying to share this. So what I'm trying to do is I in fact sent this to Gokul Garu yesterday so that we don't lose time while playing this.
What this organization desperately needs is change. Actually, what this organization really needs is repositioning. That means that what this organization really needs is a one-on-one approach. What this organization...
Was that audible? So do we, Gokul Garu, what's your suggestion? Do we play it one more time?
No, it is audible. I think a couple of messages also came up that it is good.
Oh, thank you.
You can go ahead.
Nice to know that. So let me try and pick up another one. So my dear friends, I would like you to keep this particular scene, what you have just witnessed, for those 30-40 seconds in your mind before we go to the next one. So I'm trying to navigate. Yeah. So how do we go back? I'm just trying to get this stuff. Yeah. You will have to kindly excuse me because it's the first time I'm using this particular platform. So kindly excuse my lack of speed. Yeah. Here we are. Okay. So as I mentioned, this is in Telugu. However, subtitles are available. Thank you. Gokul Garu, do we have to play it again, or that was good enough? I mean, whoever could read these subtitles. Anyways, I will give a small summary of it.
Yeah.
So
I think it is good enough. We can go ahead.
Thank you, friends, for watching those two videos. So now let's quickly look at what each of them hold for us. So what did we look at in the first visual? So it was a meeting room. Definitely, it was a. I mean, the boss was trying to get his message across, and if you see, the team was absolutely enthusiastic, overwhelming enthusiasm, right? So that's number one. And what did we see in the visual number two? Again, it was a meeting kind of an atmosphere. And the old gentleman who is the MD of the organization, he comes up, he says that there is a problem at hand. Our sales are declining. So what do? So the team is so enthusiastic that they got an expert onboarded, and that expert actually stands up and gives two brilliant things that how to really boost up the sales. The number one, we all know, price badao, then price kam kar do the next one. And the second one was just give them the gift scheme, what he called in Telugu as Bahumati Patakam, with great pride on his face. And if you see, there was a lady who was meekly sitting in that room, looks like she has come for an interview, and she just could not stop her laughter, and she laughs it out. Then when the MD asked, what do you think about her plans? So she gave him a very simple, practical solution to it, which looks like the MD liked, because he was the only one who was clapping. So now tell me, what are we drawing out of this? Since you have chat box, probably you could try and put your points there. So anybody? So what is the contrast in these two videos that we have seen? Other than the language, what is the message that is coming out of this? Anybody who would like to just put it up in the chat box for others to look? Okay, great. And Gokul Garu, would you mind telling me, where do I look for this chat? Where is that option to look for what people are typing?
Right now, we don't have any that came up in the chat.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
No worries, no worries. I mean, probably people will take a while to internalize this. So the point what we are trying to bring here is, although in the first clipping that you've seen that the team was extremely enthusiastic, they were ready to do whatever the boss would say. But what do you see? The problem was they were absolutely not aligned with the boss was saying. They were just hearing, they were not listening to him because they were not trying to get the underlying point. When the boss said all the organization needs now is change, you know what they have done. Then the boss had to really quickly change and say, no, we don't need a change, but probably a repositioning with help. And you have seen what these guys have done. They have just got up and changed their positions. So what we are seeing is, although the team is extremely enthusiastic, although the team wants to do what the boss wants to say, they are not in sync with the actual interpretation of his message, the actual vision that he has in his mind. Absolutely. In the second clipping, when you see the one where the expert was talking about, when the boss said, when the old gentleman MD said, we have a problem, everybody was ready to do something for it. And that's the reason they also onboarded a expert, a veteran expert, and veteran expert who was giving some ideas. And the moment he gave the ideas, everybody applauded, everybody clapped hard. And if you see the perplexed, if you recall the perplexed expression on the face of that old gentleman, he was not amused because he knew that these guys are absolutely off the track. They are not understanding what has to be done. They are not understanding the underlying point. Whereas the lady who just does not belong to this organization, she gave a simple idea, not a very, AI driven formula, what people now do, but she has given a very workable solution. And why do you think he clapped towards the end? Not everybody else. He clapped because he understood that this lady has understood the underlying message or underlying requirement. Hence, my dear friends, what is alignment all about? So let's go to the next screen. So what is alignment all about in the organizational context? So let's go ahead. In the organizational context, alignment refers to the extent to which various functions, goals, strategies, processes, resources, in case they are consistent, they are integrated with each other, and the most important point, to achieve the common purpose or vision, which we found absolutely lacking in both the videos. Although they were enthusiastic to do, they were dying to do anything for their organization. What was missing is they were just not coherent. They didn't had harmony. They didn't had any kind of order. So anything which creates order, which creates harmony, which creates adherence is alignment. For example, when you go to a store, probably a shoe store or a footwear store, you generally find everything to be put up in racks. So they are in order. But can you say they are aligned? Maybe not. Because if it is not aligned with the underlying point, if you do not make separate sections for, say, the kids, women or men, whatever it is, the customer who is the end point and he finds it difficult to find his choicest footwear, then you are not in alignment with the requirement of your customer. So the alignment breaks. So therefore, something which helps to come together, make all the elements to come together to achieve the underlying point or the end point or the common vision or purpose is alignment. And in our common language, in our colloquial language, we say, matching the wavelength. Oh, we seem to be in great tuning, we have a telepathy. So what is all this? In common language, in layman's language, everything that we are talking about is alignment itself. And now, what's the difference in the second visual? We understand the first part of it. The team was absolutely misaligned because they didn't understand the underlying message of the MD. So MD was absolutely not pleased with their performance or the ideas, quality of ideas. However, he was definitely he was definitely impressed with what the lady had said. Why? Because the lady didn't operate in an organizational context, but what she operated was from a personal context. right? And she understood that as a middle class housewife, in that movie she plays the role of a housewife, her personal goal is to have a simple solution for every person, for every problem in life. Her personal belief is practical things, easy things work. And she understands that if I understand the problem well, I'll be able to give a better solution. Therefore, her eye for quality, her simplicity, or her way of simple thinking to give those ideas have actually aligned her personal beliefs and values with that of the MD, with that of the organization, where it was looking at some practical tips, not just simple tips, but practical tips which could help them not only improve their sales, but also help them scale. Because anything that we do should be repeatable. Because one time doing might not give us the results. So anything that we are doing, if it is able to give us results again and again for a sustained period of time, then we know that particular practice is aligned to the requirement of the organization, or aligned to the requirement of that personal space, or of the human being so far. So great. So this is alignment. So let's decipher it further. Let's get ahead. Now that we understand what is alignment, why do you see why people really don't agree to certain things that we say? Or people, the moment we say, we give some suggestion, they say, no, this is not going to work out at all. Ye hone wala hai hi nahi hai. Why are you wasting your time here? I just don't want to do this. I don't like this. So why do people come and retaliate like that? So there are multiple reasons for it, but there are 4 reasons that we have, I thought, would be of importance from this context. So let's get ahead. Okay, so these 4 reasons are very simple. The first reason why people tend to get misaligned, or remain misaligned, or do not remain in sync for a very long time is they don't think. It's just remember the first visual. Despite energy, no application of thinking at all, they will never understand what has to be done. They will never own their projects up. They will never own anything that they are doing. So non-thinking is something which makes the people not aligned to the project, not aligned to the organizational goals, not aligned to the belief system, and then rush to execute. They were so much in a rush to execute, they just missed the point. That's all. So hence, probably the boss has to make multiple attempts to make them understand that this is what I'm trying to tell you, this is what the need of the organization is. And then another important reason why people are misaligned is lack of understanding about these 3 Ds: dialogue, discussion, debate. In general English, what is dialogue? Dialogue is something which happens between 2 people. At least you need 2 people minimum to have a dialogue. If you do it with yourself, we call it as monologue, correct? So what is dialogue? Dialogue could be exchange of ideas, exchange of opinions, suggestions, improvements, say sentiments, emotions, whatever it is. What is discussion? The same thing what happens in dialogue with more than people. If there are more than 2 people and they end up discussing, they end up exchanging ideas, talking about a particular subject or a particular problem or something, then it becomes a discussion. And debate, it is very clear, it's just the opposite of discussion and a dialogue. So why lack of understanding leads to misalignment? Because if you don't understand the difference between these two, in certain contexts, you really wouldn't know that are you able to reach a consensus on this particular point, else we will be going in circles. Because many times, somebody in the team meeting and says, we have already spent 30 minutes and we are just going in circles, we have not reached any solution on this, can we get to the point please? What does that gentleman or the lady trying to say? Saying that now stop all this nonsense, come back to the point. So what we have to understand is, when it is with your own self, when you're trying to be talking to yourself, dialogue is the best thing. So you have to understand that dialogue works better when you are with yourself. So when you are in a work environment, dialogue, discussion, and healthy debates, the combination of these 3 can be an ideal situation, so that the people are very much in sync with what is happening or supposed to happen. And debates at all costs must be avoided. And on a personal front, be it with your family, relatives, neighbors, even on the stranger on the road, a discussion or a dialogue is the most appropriate way. So when people don't understand where to apply what and they just say my way or the highway, then there are high chances that we just go in circles, go round and round like a tornado and reach nowhere. And also one of the last but also equally important reason why people are not in tandem with what's happening is seniority and authority. Say, for example, you have a very senior person whom you are reporting to, or somebody who's heading the project, and he says, look, I have done multiple projects like this. You better listen to me. That's all. Then do you think the people with him, those 10, 15 people on the project, men or women, do you think they would like to work with him? They will just shut off themselves and say, this old gentleman or old lady does not just understand that times have now changed. It requires a different kind of a treatment. He's asking us to do it the same way. Why doesn't he now experiment? So this conflict can lead to no alignment, or people will never come in consensus. Whatever he says, they would say no, or whatever the team says yes, the boss might not approve of. Or there could be situations where you end up reporting to somebody quite junior to you and you just don't believe in his or her skill set. Are kalka londa, what is he going to teach me? I have seen this already. I know this so well. Why do I have to report into him? I just don't want to. These kind of situations will make sure that the teams are never aligned. And when the teams are not aligned, the objectives, what has to be taken care of, will never get fulfilled at all. And if the teams are aligned or they remain misaligned for a very long time, we all know the pitfalls. No productivity, no consensus, lack of timelines. Everything gets bursted, efficiency lacks, communication breakdowns happen. So many such things happen. So my dear friends, I think once we understand why people are misaligned, let's try and understand what's next for us. What's in alignment we should be knowing about. We can get ahead. So now that we understand some parts of misalignment, we should know that there are few traps in misalignment that you should not fall for, which can be called as myths of alignment. And if you see, it is ALIGN. So what is the first myth? What is the first thing about alignment that you should not be looking at? We can go ahead, Gokul. Yeah. The first thing we should understand that nothing in this world is automatic. Even, somebody can say, Padmini, our heartbeat is automatic. No, it is not automatic. It is involuntarily. We don't do it, but it does it. Even then there is a trigger. When the heart is, when the blood pumps, only then the heart beats. General science, what we had studied, which means there is a trigger, only then things happen. Otherwise, nothing happens automatically in this world, in this universe. So is alignment. So we shouldn't expect that alignment will automatically come the moment the target is announced and the people will say, hung ho, we are ready for it. It does not happen. Alignment does not come in automatically at all. The second trap, one should not fall for it in an organization context, is if the top leadership is aligned, rest of the company is aligned. It's only half true. In fact, the second half of the truth is the rest of the team also have to be equally aligned. In fact, once the team is aligned bottom up, then the outcomes are much definitive in nature. Otherwise, we will not know what the results are going to be. We will always have to play in assumptions, predictions. For example, let me give you an example. If there is a meeting, or each of you must be having your meetings with your bosses, say in a situation where the CEO says, look, last year we had done some, say 200 crores. This time we have to now go ahead and get 300 crores or 400 crores. Now, if the head of the sales just stands up and say, boss, for doing this, I need 50 more people. Only then we can achieve 300. What do you think will be the immediate answer? Look, the head count is frozen. I cannot give you. Instead, if the head of sales stands up and says, boss, currently we have 30 odd people who are in the field and their current productivity is so much. So I think it's important to also increase their individual productivity. Then we will try and get some 10 people more onboarded. Then it is very easy to come to the number that you're talking about. Can we work it out that way? So what can happen then? Two things can naturally follow. The boss will be a little more receptive to give 10, although he ends up giving 8 or 12, but at least he'll be receptive because the head of sales is in alignment with the requirement of the boss, because the requirement of the CEO is we not only increase the sales, but we increase, any CEO will not say we should improve efficiency. It means that it has to be done efficiently. Efficiently means less resources, more output, doing more with less. So if the sales head takes this route of efficiency, then the CEO will go ahead, definitely do something about the headcount. And not only that, the sales head will be able to build a team which has now increased productivity, which will help in the future. Even if the target becomes twofold or fivefold, they know the mantra. So the alignment is this: understand the underlying point, understand the underlying big picture. Then it's easier to align yourself, align your teams with you, for which whoever is trying to get alignment within the teams, within our own cell, within the family, transparency has to be there, absolutely. Otherwise, things don't work out. And another trap about alignment is it's intrinsic and it cannot be nurtured. Alignment is a behavior. It's not anything else. Alignment is kind of a behavior, and any behavior is intrinsic to some extent. Agreed. But what is not true about alignment is it cannot be nurtured. Like any other behavior, alignment can be very much nurtured. All it has to be coupled with is an environment which has accountability, an environment which allows you to experiment, an environment which allows you to fail, yet come back and take responsibility for it, and atmosphere where you talk about values and you model them. When you have atmosphere, when you have environment, when you have created culture like that, then alignment becomes a behavior. Slow, study, but yes, it can happen. So it can be certainly nurtured. And another thing about alignment, which people feel that alignment just means cascading goals top down. Fantastic. If the targets, if the board says that this is the profitability we will have to get, it's not just the job of the sales team to get the orders, right? The entire organization must be in sync of that requirement, be the HR, the finance, the IT, the service team, the support teams, everybody. Even horizontal alignment is necessary. So if everything has to be taken care of, it has to be horizontal, of course. Vertical, horizontal, all over. Else, it's only alignment will only remain a distant dream, and whatever the board requires of, probably the team might not be able to deliver. And the last thing about alignment, which people think is right, is it is needed only by big projects and big companies. Absolutely not. And we will know more about it. For example, when Gokul and I were in the backstage, few things were not working out. 2 days back when we did the dry run, everything was working fantastic. But this morning when I was trying to log in, as usual, the last minute butterflies, the passcode was not getting accepted. Then I had to ask him, kindly do it. So alignment, coherence, harmony is needed in any kind of an atmosphere, in any kind of a situation, right? So let's get ahead. Hope you're all with me on this. Yeah, let's go ahead, Google. So types of misalignment. We have been talking so much of this word misalignment. Now, thanks Dikshitji for that confirmation. So alignment. What are the types of misalignment? There are 1,000 kinds of misalignments. Although in the infographic I tried to fit only some 7 to 8 of them. You will have misalignment of context, you will have misalignment of incentive, misalignment of values, misalignment of whatnot, goals, expectation, hundreds of varieties of misalignment at all. And if you really look at, there is a misalignment in the spelling itself, alignment, right? So it can happen. So the underlying point here is, do not get really carried away with what kind of misalignment it is. In the context, when you see that things are not in harmony, things are not in sync, what has to be done? What is a solution which will get us to bring people on board so that we can travel together, do that, complete that assignment is very important. I just put it so that you know that there are various kinds of misalignment. Let's get ahead. And where is alignment needed? I recall PMI's flyer said how vital is alignment for corporate environment. So I would definitely want to say that work is only one part of our life, although it takes major part of our life and energy and enthusiasm, time and all. Yeah, we have two other spheres in our life which are very, very important. One is self, definitely work front, and then family and others. So alignment is needed in all these three spaces of a human life. Next. And when we know the alignment is needed here, so how do we really get the alignment in these spheres? So let's look at it in the next slide. Thanks. We can go ahead. Yeah. So self, how do you bring alignment? In order to bring alignment in our own self, the biggest mantra and only mantra that works is be aware of yourself. You should know when do you feel sad. You should know when you feel upset. You should know when you feel really excited. When you know when you have that adrenaline rush. What puts you down? What pisses you off? I mean, what are your factors? What are those triggers which actually motivates you, gives you that high? If you are aware of yourself to that extent, only then you know you are in alignment with yourself. Otherwise, your head says something, your heart says something, your hand does something else. And the outcome is on a different track altogether. So knowing each of these things about yourself helps you to be in tandem, in harmony with yourself. You hear people saying, "Na, I'm in peace with myself." वो heroic dialogue अच्छा लगता है, but what is that he or she trying to say? That I know myself very well, so you just don't have to really bother about it. I can take care of myself in any situation for that matter, right? Now, on the work front, please go ahead. On the work front, so what are those few things which can help the team be fully in sync with the vision, with the big picture of the organization? So let me quickly take you to Bahubali 1. I'm sure there is nobody in this chat room who has not seen Bahubali 1, right? So in Bahubali 1, if you remember the battle cry which Prabhas gives to his team when the villain Kalakaya's team tries to drive away Prabhas's team, what does Prabhas do? First, he understood that his team is getting driven away. They are losing the battle. Something has to be done. So what he does, he marches ahead. He gets into the middle of his army where people are trying to come back to their fort. What he says, I mean, just in, I know we have a Telugu version of it, but in the Hindi dubbed, what does he say? Mrityu kya hai? That's a fantastic question he asks in a situation like that. Then he gives 2-3 real strong motivating reasons why they have to go back and face the enemy. Then he says, Mere saath kaun aa raha hai? Yavarastunnaru nato. That's what, something like that. He keeps pushing that team and everybody says, it's me, main, nenu, all this. So what is he trying to do? He was trying to give this war cry so that people stay aligned to that picture that they will have to either win or die fighting for their motherland. So he was trying to bring that coherence in the team that we have to go get the enemy. And I'm sure you would have heard of all these things. So people who have watched this movie, Uri, the brilliant movie it is. So what is their war cry, or what is the way to see if people are aligned? Anybody remember? The famous dialogue everybody would talk about. How is the Josh? Hi, sir. I mean, although they did it quite beautifully, all those people out there, people in uniform. So these are the war cries that actually get the people to get aligned. Your CEO might have a mantra. He might have a dialogue. So what they're trying to do is, at the work front is, they are trying to pep people up for setting them up for something bigger. Similarly, business results. Business results is also one way to bring alignment. If we have done fantastically well last time, then the CEO or the boss has all the rights to say that let's make it double. So that's one way of bringing in alignment, because the boss knows that it is because of the team effort that everybody has gotten there. And work processes could be how well your processes are documented, how well they are step by step, they have been given, how well they are adhered by the people. All these things can help even the newcomers who are coming on board to be in tune, in tandem, in order with the organization from the day one. So work processes, clearly spelled out work processes, are extremely important. And of course, culture, we have spoken about it. If you are making a conducive culture where people work with responsibility, they know their responsibility, they know what they can do, they know what they cannot do, hence they have the freedom to come out and say, look, this is what I may not be able to good at. Can I have somebody to help me? So you're asking for help, which means you know what you can do, you are taking help of somebody because you know the purpose is most important, not my emotion that I can't do something really well. So if we are able to create that culture at work, and don't always feel that HR is responsible for creating that culture. Every individual person working in that organization, including your Mishra ji, Singh ji at the front desk, or anybody, Miss Rita, Gita, whoever is at the front desk, even they have to be fully aligned. Else, it doesn't work at all. And how about family and others? It's simple role modeling of values, discipline, behaviors. We can go ahead. For example, if you ask the child to, if you tell the child, look, beta, today is Sunday and first half of the day, no mobile. He will just stare at you, blank stare. And he'll be thinking in your mind, first you do it. So we will have to role model ourselves. If we really want to create some value systems, we will have to role model it ourselves. If we want people to believe that what we are believing is good for the family or good for the community or the neighborhood, for the nation, then we will have to really tell them why it is good, how it is good. And of course, discipline is very much needed. If alignment has to work for over a period of time, long run, then discipline is utmost, even if it is with an individual or with teams also. Yes, we can get ahead. Now, very interestingly, how do you really measure the alignment index of an organization? Only one way to look at it. That's all. That's results. If results are doing well, you know there is some amount of alignment at all. If the results are not well, then you know there is some problem in some pockets. Although the companies might want to do some kind of surveys trying to understand how much do they like their workplace, how much they are engaged with the how much the managers are engaged with the team members, do they really like working in this kind of an organization. There can be many kind of surveys also, but 1-2 things which really help is, number one, look at the results. That's actually the moment of truth. If results are there, then you know everybody is working towards the same goal in that organization or in that context. And not only organization, even in your personal front also, if you have set some targets for yourself, set some goals for yourself, and you're able to reach, then you know that everything that you have planned, done so far, you're absolutely working well for you, which means that you know yourself so well, what works for you, what does not work for you. So if you have to really make some changes in your plan the next time, you know what kind of course corrections to be done. Similarly, in your family front and with others also, if you think a small function, a small get together has to be pulled off really well, it requires a great amount of collaboration, coordination amongst those family, 2-3 family members or 5 family members, including the guests at times. Right? So, and when it is pulled off and people talk highly about it, the food was good, the arrangements were good, or fantastic, such an energetic team at office you have. These are all results. Results need not be always those numerical numbers that we see just like that we see on the Nifty or BSE, right? It can be felt, the results can be felt at times. The qualitative and quantitative results that we see shows the degree of alignment that we have in these contexts, right? Let's get ahead. Now, again, so how can you get people to be aligned, listen to you, or buy your idea, take ownership? Always engage people at two levels. One is logical, one is psychological. Absolutely. What Bahubali did is psychological alignment, right? And what that lady in that video did is a logical alignment. So if logical alignment is for people who say, why do we have to do this? What are the numbers that we are going to get? There are 10 challenges in it. So you will have to give all those answers. You will have to actually give answers to them that these are the 10 reasons why you're doing. At times you have people who are quite emotional, quite psychological. This is again a very important project. How do we pull it off? We just have 7 days. Then you should really pep them up saying that you have done it in the past. All you have to do is just bring yourself up again and do it once again and just lift that morale. So you will find people everywhere, people who are logical, who are psychological, who are a combination of both. So if you really want to take people along with you on that mission, it's always important that they should be engaged at these two levels, logical and definitely psychological as needed. Yes, please, we can move ahead. And then this is what we should not do. Yes, boss. This is something that we should avoid. Otherwise, it is not alignment at all, because alignment means you have the freedom to think, you have the freedom to say, you have the freedom to fail, you have the freedom to experiment, yet responsibility. So alignment is not appeasement. Alignment is not जी हुजूरी at all. वो जीनी आता है ना, out of that lamp, क्या हुक्म मेरे आका. That's something that one has to avoid. And we know what kind of pitfalls our great Shah Rukh Khan had to fall into when he just kept saying, yes, boss, yes, boss, yes, boss, right? So we should avoid doing it. So what is alignment in a nutshell? So let's get ahead. Alignment is being in agreement. In case you don't agree, ask for details and get ahead. And alignment means take lead. Don't wait for somebody to tell you that these are the 10 things to be done. You can also take lead and say, what are those 2 things which can help us to win this race, which can help us to win this contest, right? Next, it means alignment requires integration of KPIs with the vision, not with the departmental objectives. If the individual level KPIs or KRS, which are our key performance indicators or result areas or OKRs that we call these days, if they are not aligned with the big picture, ultimate picture, when I'm saying KPI, I'm not just only talking about the organizational context, even at the personal context, even in family. If the person's discipline or value is not aligned with what is good for the family or what is important as a vision of the organization, then we just cannot get people to work together as a team. Yes. And then when you have a big picture, when you have a vision, goals, only they supersede, not emotions. How we are feeling about it. Are you feeling low that you cannot achieve it? Are you feeling so sad that we have taken up the wrong kind of project? Oh my goodness, there are wrong team members who are energy suckers. Feelings doesn't matter. Emotions doesn't matter at all. Only goals, our vision, absolutely matter. Yes. What does N stand? You have to nurture alignment as a behavior. And the day you start doing it as a behavior, you also see that this is one of the traits. Because many times when you go for an interview, they look for a lot of interpersonal skills. Although you have a lot of technical skills, a lot of domain related skills. Alignment, they say, and if you would have seen some of the CVs, those of you interview yourself, you would also seen that I am a great team player. I'm a good team player. What does that mean? What is it trying to say? That not to worry, we can work together. I'll align myself to the goal of the organization. Then what does M stand for? When we are trying to work together as a team, we should have mutual respect for others' ideas and thoughts. This is where a good combination of dialogue, discussion, and probably healthy debates, if needed, come into picture. You can always agree to disagree, but you cannot have flying saucers in the room or in the meeting room or on the dinner table saying that, and you are trying to just get your point across. No, in alignment, there is no place for debates. Mutual respect for each other's ideas and thoughts, and then we get into a discussion and we then come to a consensus. Then there is no place for egos as well. You must be a king at your thing. I am a queen at my place. How does it matter? We have come together for something good, something better, something for this world. So we are going to keep our egos aside. And I remember once my boss also made a mention in one of our internal meetings. Anybody feel that their egos are still lingering? Please stand outside the room for 10 minutes and then come in. Once your ego leaves you, then walk into the meeting room. So it's as important as that. No place for egos. And then you should be able to navigate. What are we saying? Navigate. You have great team. They're all agreeing with each other that we will do. Fantastic. Somebody should take it forward. What do we do next? How do we deliver this? What are our team lines? Who will do what? So this is nothing but you are trying to navigate and trying to make sure that everybody is getting an equal opportunity to work, whatever be the project, whatever be the assignment, whatever be the small thing being work for an organization. So somebody has to be. If your boss doesn't do it, anybody can take up the lead and say, boss, I think I'll take this up. I can work with so and so. I can work with, say, Gopalji to do this. So take that lead. That's what we have learned. And finally, anything and everything, teamwork wins. Even if you are a team of 2, it just works wonders, provided whatever has been discussed so far is understood, internalized, and it is implemented. So when I say, when you have people saying that, are you with me? What does that mean? Are we all on the same page? What does it mean? Are we ready to go? What does it mean? It means that let's get aligned to this and let's get working. So this is what I had to offer today to all of you. Simple things about alignment, yet it can be useful in your own space when you're trying to understand or trying to implement. And I could be reached at on my Gmail ID, and alternatively, you can drop me a connection request. I'll be more than happy to come back. So we are ready for questions. Over to you, Gopal Garu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Padmini. This is a wonderful session that we had on alignment, and hope all the participants here understood and aligned to the topic and could able to, if you're not aligned or if you're not yet understand, please ask questions or anything, any aspect of it. Please provide your questions. We still have 10 minutes or so time. And none of these alignment principles are followed in my current role. How as a team member to overcome it? That's the question from Radha Krishna. He's asking that none of these alignment principles are followed in my current role. How as a team member can overcome it?
You have answered it yourself. It is not being followed. So make an attempt to follow 1, 2 of them. That's all. As simple as that. See, there is no hard and fast rule that you will have to do it this way. But if you think your end result is that you should be in alignment, then you will have to find a way. If you recall, we said no, logical, psychological, you might have to find those triggers which will help those team members to start cooperating with you. At times you might have to talk it out. At times you might have to show or demonstrate. Only then they will start believing and trying to work with you. It could be, you cannot have one thing works for all. So whatever it is, understand those triggers, which helps them to overcome it, and then probably 1 or 2 you can. And many times this is not also put it up on the performance management, so people tend to ignore. But if you are in a supervisory role and you want your team members to do well at it, then I think you might have to keep a track of it. That helps. Sometimes negotiation with the teams is very difficult. How to handle that situation? Keep trying, that's all. Because as I said, a team might have 5 people, 10 people, but what you could try, and if you know that if we should also understand if the team is difficult to handle, or the point that you want to get them to agree to is difficult. If the point you want to get them to agree to is difficult, then you must keep as much information as possible so that they are convinced. If you think the team itself is hard to manage or convince on anything, then probably you will have to first look for somebody who can become a champion on your behalf. There would be 1-2 people who like to do, but they are not able to do it because the team is difficult. So find 1 or 2 champions for yourself. Then probably you can win bit by bit. So there cannot be a direct answer. You should keep trying. And since alignment is a behavior, and all of us, when it comes to alignment, behave as I mean, teenagers or at times like toddlers and infants. So I think we should go ahead and keep trying different ways. There is no hard and fast rule that alignment should come immediately. So we will have to keep trying, but understanding the triggers is very important. Only then you will know that.
And what is the best way to make team align on organizational goals?
There could be many. The ones that we discussed and the ones we didn't discuss also. It depends upon what aspect of the organization you want them to get aligned with is very important. So once you understand that, probably the things will come out. So many times, for example, if you want, I don't know what kind of a role currently you're managing, if you are a project manager and you want them to align all of them to that particular timeline, there is a way to do it. If you want them to really scale up, take bigger roles, and they just don't want to do it because they are happy with the kind of small projects that they are working on, but you want them to upskill and take up bigger projects because your boss has few, then you must try it in a different manner. So it depends upon what is that you want them to get aligned with. When I said in organization context is a very vast, very huge context. Where is that you want to align them? Because alignment can be extremely generic. So if that's the reason, if you see there are so many types of misalignments. So you will have to pinpoint what kind of alignment you want to. You want to get some alignment, their alignment to goals, their alignments to values, what they have, their alignments to the culture of the organization. The moment you understand that or make some research on it, then action planning becomes easier.
Okay, there's another question here.
Said it to some extent at least.
From Radhakrishna again, there is another question. How to handle that senior manager attitude, which was explained in one of your slides when it comes to alignment?
Do you want to manage your supervisor or somebody higher in rank to you is a question. First thing that you've got to answer. Do you want to manage him or do you want to work together as a team? Once you understand, you will have your answer. Because when we have people higher to us, I mean, I wouldn't say higher, but senior to us in rank, experience, exposure, we always want to see how we can manage them. No, always think of how to work with them, shoulder to shoulder. Probably you might walk up to him. If he has an attitude that he knows it all, fantastic. Slightly surrender and tell that you are fantastic at this. I really admire your skills at so and so, the way you manage the client, the way you write emails, the way you conduct team meetings, the way you give demonstration, whatever it is. I would want to learn from you. First, submit yourself. Let his attitude or ego slightly mellow down, soften. Then strike when the iron is hot. That's all. We don't have to manage anybody. They will get managed eventually. Once we know the triggers, that what we want to do, what we want to do. Here also, what is the outcome that we are looking at? Final outcome. I want to work with him, then alignment has a different meaning. I want him to, I want to control him, then it has a very different meaning. So that way. So Radhakrishna Garu, do you think I've been, answering your questions adequately? Yes. Let me know if it is helping. At least it should trigger some ideas in your mind. All I could say that.
Yes, that answers my question. That's what he said. And there is another question from Krishna. Is there any real life scenario on alignment?
Since whatever time we get up in the morning, we should have alignment. As simple as our Kamwali Bai. Correct? If I have to leave for my office, say 1.5 hours in advance, what level of alignment or sync or harmony I should have with her so that she comes 2.5 hours ahead of her time, does everything for me and helps me in getting ready. So real life example. Even your kids have to get up early that way because you have to go to office early that day. Correct? I mean, there can be ample real life scenarios on alignment. Correct? And for example, if somebody in this forum, they don't agree with my answer, is again a question of alignment. How do I get them to come to a consensus on my response? Hope that answers.
And there is another one. Context of the organization requirements. Skills are defined in the process document. Quality method,
Quality.
which also defines
Absolutely. Absolutely.
interaction.
Absolutely. Even a new fellow can get aligned from day one. Yes, that's one of the key reasons why we have processes, why we have documented processes. Absolutely right, sir. I agree, Prashanji.
Yeah. So that's pretty much, we have the questions at the moment and we are on top of our hour as well. So any questions or anything, please contact us or Padmini directly so that she can provide you all the details, or answer your questions. And in the next session, we have announcement. We have a PMP or Project Management Professional Workshop going on in the next month, June 10th and 11th, and June 17th and 18th. So anybody who is interested, or if you want any of your friends to be get this certification, if they are looking for any refresher course or even full course, please contact us. Here, the details are given here. You can email to academy@pmipcc.org, pmi-pcc.org, or WhatsApp the number 9989136831. Any further corporate related inquiries, please email it to corporate@pmipcc.org. So it is not only PMP, we have regular sessions on AC, agile related, as well as the DASSM and many other workshops. So please contact us if you have any details or anybody who are interested in getting this certification. And here is the QR code for the feedback. Please, putting it for a minute. So people, please give us a feedback. This will help us to improve ourselves and provide you a much better sessions and much better for your time. So it will always be a win-win situation for both of us. So members, please help us to get the details, how we can improve as a chapter and how we can provide you a better services. So I'm leaving this for a minute. And in the end, we have this PDU information, and you will be getting this PDU automatically allocated to you once in a couple of days' time. So whoever has joined, don't worry, you will get the PDU automatically allocated. If you didn't provide the PMI ID, please contact us to events@pmi-pcc.org. And then I can provide that. Or even if you feel that you haven't got the PDU, just let me know at the events@pmi-pcc.org. we will provide that. And this is the QR code for the feedback form. Once again, and thank you very much, Padmini ji. This is the wonderful session on alignment, and this is important as well as useful for all of us in a day-to-day personal life to the work front, as you mentioned, and also provided us some tools on how to understand alignment, where we use this alignment in bettering ourselves in our work front as well as personal life. So appreciate your time for us, and as a token of gratitude, we are providing. I will share the certificate with you. We are providing a certificate on the, 5 trees on behalf of you. We will be planting in the Sundarban National Forest. So I will share the certificate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks so much, Gokul Garu, and thanks PMI for this opportunity. I'm glad that you found this useful. So thank you so much, everyone. Look forward to meet you in some other forum sometime. And thank you for your, kind words and appreciation. Good day to you.
Good day to you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, with this, I'm stopping the session, and this session is recorded, and the recording will be provided to you in our YouTube channel. Please check the channel for anybody who is interested. And Padmini Garu has provided her LinkedIn profile here. Who are interested to connect with her, please do so. With that, we can close the call right now, and have a nice weekend all. Thank you.